Evening, folks. Brian here, Geomagnetic Earth Watch on Tuesday, January 9, 2024 on our planet. Hope you're all well. So I'm going to explain to you one thing I've been doing, one thing I've been monitoring for the past 2 years, and that is heat indications rising up to the underside of our crust. So I use a number of satellite services available to the public if you know how to use them and interpret the information. NASA Worldview is one, NASA firms, Fire Information Resource Management Systems, and others. So I track heat anomalies. Why? Because I believe, as I've stated so many times, that because of the outer core expansion as influenced by the external electromagnetic influence from SAL, causes what's called outer core expansion, manifested up through the mantle plumes, which are anchored to the outer core, where a magnetic field is generated from, and where there's a whole lot of changes going on. And we have the rising magma, the hotter magma, and its heat coming to the underside of the lithosphere, to the mantle plume heads, which can have branches, arms, nodes, poking up through the lithosphere, also causing what's called lithospheric melting, and that heat coming up through cracks of volcanic areas, where the crust is thinnest, oceanic crusts. So I'm going to show you a couple of examples where I've monitored these in my area of Okanagan, British Columbia, which is got a lot of volcanic areas. Two of which I personally attended to, fires, and another one not fire. So when I show you these heat detections, so the satellites can pick up heat from fires, large enough fires. It has to be a substantial structure fire, a big one. I can also pick up the heat from, obviously, from wildfires, industry, arc furnaces from steel plants. It'll pick it up. Volcanoes, as well as heat coming up from below. And I'm going to show you some examples, proof. Now these heat indications can only come from one or two places: from below our feet, subsurface, or from above us, radiation hotspots. Now, because I'm in a volcanic area, I know where they're coming from. Let's get into it. So last summer, July 5, 2023, this is a view from my home in the Okanagan, West Kelowna. I saw what was obviously a wildfire. Now I know exactly where this area is. It's a section of the highway called the Connector. So I'm going to get in my truck and I'm going to go take a look. Like I said, I know where it is. However, first I'm going to go to the satellite imagery and I'm going to get some coordinates so I know exactly where it is, and to confirm the accuracy of the data that the NASA Worldview and other satellite services provide. So I'll pick one of the services. This is NASA Worldview. So this is our fire locations and our surrounding heat detections. And I live in this area here. So what I do is I'll pick a few of these. This one, for example. Which will give me the coordinates, longitude, latitude. And I'll put that into Google Maps or Google Earth. In fact, I'll pick a few of them. Now, I have an idea, even before I got there, that only a couple of these areas was an actual fire. However, we have some surrounding hotspots, so I'll also get those locations as well. And I'll put them into Google Earth. So our fire, okay, I want you to pay attention now. We had only 2 fire hotspots, period. and I'll show you my video when I attended there. We had one here on the side of this hump and one right here. Those were the only fires. However, there were heat indications here, right here, quite literally meters away from the highway, as well as here. Now, our winds at that time were coming in this direction, but there's heat anomalies here, 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 all around the area, as well as on the other side of the fire. So I get in my truck. And off I go. Hey folks, Brian here, Geobank Earthwatch on Monday, June 5, 2023 on the planet. So I'm just taking a drive to the wildfire in my hood. I'm currently on what's called the connector, Highway 97C, going through Beachland, British Columbia. Just want to confirm my suspicions on something. So on the satellite, we have 4 heat anomalies. One, at least, as you can see, is a confirmed fire. So now I remember when I first went out, there were only 4 separate heat indications noted. In that video I just showed you, there was much, much more. But on the morning when I was heading out, there was only 4. So I'm going to stop for a moment. So we had 2 primary fire locations. One subdivided here, and up here. Now, a couple of heat indications were right here and further off to the right, and obviously there were no fires. On the other side of this ridge line, and on the face of this feature here. So of course this is my area. We've had no weather. This is not a lightning strike. So we also had a heat detection. There are 2 other heat anomalies here to the right and here. So I'm going to head down there and, oh my goodness, okay, coming back the other way on the fire here. So 1 kilometer to the west, there's 2 heat signatures, as I pointed out, and there is no fires in those areas. I'm going to pack up some gear and come back here tomorrow morning and see what happens in the rest of the areas. Okay, all right. There's no terrorist invasion, folks. Okay, settle down, relax, right? There's no laser beams. Okay, it's all right. So the following day, one moment. So the following day, I went to investigate the heat anomaly across the highway for the fire. So our fire was here and here, but there was also a heat anomaly here, which is here. So again, I'll take the exact coordinates. I'll go to Google Earth or Google Map, and I'm going to look for something that's going to give me an indication that I found the right spot. So I saw this turn off here and two boulders here. So that's what told me what to look for when I was driving down this road. So the following day, my daughter and we went out and I took a look at the area across from the highway fire, well away from the actual fire. I want to see if I want to see any burn indications, which there weren't. There's the two boulders that I used for a reference from Google Earth, pinpoint my location. So this is an example how the satellite will pick up heat detections below the surface, but not necessarily always a fire. So there you go, folks. There's one example of a purely thorough investigation, including on-scene attending, snooping around in other areas. One thing I forgot to mention, that one of those heat anomalies, the one closest to the highway, was actually detected satellite acquisition time at 03:43 a.m. in the morning. There's no fire, it's just a heat detection. And then the rest of the fires sparked up. Temperatures during the daytime, about 20 or 21 degrees Celsius, not hot. No weather, no lightning, no human activity. No laser beams from space. No invading armies setting fires. Geothermal heat rise coming up. So initially there was only 4 detection points. Later on in the day there was quite a few, as I showed you, and only 2 fire locations. Let's get on to the next example. Next, on July 1st, 2023, Canada Day, across the lake from me in Kelowna, a mountain called Knox Mountain, which is an actual volcano, we had a suspicious fire. Now, they said it was an arson. However, they always say arson when they cannot find the ignition source. There are no arrests, nothing made. Knox Mountain, a volcano. In the background, we have Dilworth Mountain, a volcano. Let's take a look at the news report on this one. So again, on top of the mountain / volcano, we had a single fire location. However, a series of heat detections are on the perimeter of this fire. And he's going to do a fire retard dropper on the perimeter to prevent the fire from getting into the neighborhood areas. So I might as well show you the volcanic regions around me. So this is the first fire, the beginning of my video here. The Canada Day fire, July 1st, was Kelowna, Knox Mountain. Right here, you can still see the retard here. However, again, there's a series of heat detections around the perimeter. Dilworth Mountain. So we like to do silly things like build neighborhoods on top of volcanoes. Dilworth, many people don't realize that this is actually a volcano. And further in the background, we have a Black Mountain volcano. Further up the lake, we have Spion Kop. It's actually a spine of volcanoes. On my side, West Kelowna, we have Mount Boucherie volcano and its surrounding volcanic features scattered everywhere. Further down the lake, we have in Summerland, we have some volcanoes. There we go, Giant's Head volcano. Penticton, we have Munson. Which is actually a volcano. And so on, and so on, and so on. Then, of course, later on in the year, we had our massive wildfires that engulfed the Okanagan region. Wow. I suggest you get used to these visualizations. This was last summer as the wildfires got out of control in Okanagan, British Columbia, Canada. This is what Mike from Around the World COT and Brian Gunderson Geomagnetic Earthwatch are telling you to prepare for. So there you have it, folks. I've just shown you a few examples. Now, starting this spring, not the summertime. Fires are not going to start in the summertime. They're going to start in the springtime. Starting this springtime, when I start seeing these heat detections, I am going to saddle up and head out. If they're within a 2-hour drive radius around where I am living, just like I showed you in the first video, and I'm going to be heading out. I'll tell you what I'm not going to find. I'm not going to find laser beams from space. I'm not going to find laser beams from aircraft. I'm not going to find invading armies into my country setting fires. I'm going to find what I've been showing you. So please ignore these whack jobs, conspiracy theorists for profit, and start preparing yourself. When I give you an example of when people ask me, well, what's a safe location? And I tell you, do your own geological survey, know all the volcanic areas and surrounding volcanic features. Do your own study and get the hell out. Or don't go there in the first place. British Columbia, for example, has 28 active volcanic regions. There are at least 199 listed known volcanic areas throughout my province. Scattered, littered. Many of the fires last summer started near these volcanic regions in the absence of weather, in the absence of lightning strikes. If you're in the unfortunate position, such as I am so far, that you're in one of these regions, I suggest you start doing your pre-planning. It may be freezing cold and snow-covered right now, but you need to start getting your mind framed into it. What's your bug-out plans? What's your evac routes? Where are you going to go when they start knocking on your door and ordering you to leave? What are you going to do? I would also suggest that you forget these fear porn, scare porn for profit, doomsday videos of the entire oceans covering entire continents. Because if that's all you're thinking about, you're going to be dead long before then. Oh, did I upset you? Our planet is being perturbed by an external influence. It is now beginning to respond seismically. volcanically, heat-wise, destructive weather events, Florida, England, Acapulco earlier on, that sudden Cat 5 hurricane that popped out of nowhere. Ocean inundation is not just the California videos. I have a lot more, including my province. And the list goes on and on and on. These are the things that you need to be thinking about and preparing for. If all you're thinking about is, what's my high location? Oh, when am I going to survive the flood? Oh, where's a safe location from the Great Flood? Oh! He said he wouldn't do that. He said he would do it by fire and brimstone. Like I said, I've shown you a few examples.